assistant, or is it just you?
Pretty much running a one-man army, but I do get assistance when required from my family, or hire virtual assistant on Upwork or Fiverr when required.
Okay. So he just mentioned Fiverr. That's a great resource. It's Fiverr. I've used them as well for video editing, graphic design, YouTube banners. So another way to kind of leverage yourself a little bit as well. I do not have two worlds open. Not sure why I'm echoing, honestly. I don't know if someone else has a mic open that shouldn't, but hopefully now we're better. I'm not hearing the echo now. How about let's go to Pierre, because I know you've got a big support staff and you've kind of levered to grow your business kind of exponentially recently. So if you could walk us through kind of your back office operations.
Sure. So up until about 6 months ago, we only had 2 people. So we were doing, well over 300 transactions with 2 people just because of the EXP model, I guess. When I had my own brokerage, we had, way more than that. And that was kind of one of the things that was appealing about EXP, is that if they could start looking after all the back end systems and the money and the accounting, then that would, relieve some expenses for us. So as we grew and realized that people were getting a little overworked, I had one marketing person who was doing all of our videos. He was actually doing the videos for our homes, the drone work and all the social media for everybody. And then so the first step was to hire somebody to help him. And now he just does video and does a lot of the content for the agents. And then we have another marketing person who she looks after kind of like, every time we onboard an agent, anytime somebody needs graphic work done or anything like that, brochures, she looks after that. And then as far as the admin side goes, I have one admin person that basically looks after downloading all the listings, and then my office manager, she's kind of like the go-to for everything. She is now doing training with new agents coming on, and she has an onboarding process that we use through Trello to make sure that we're onboarding agents properly and following up with them, 7, 14, 30, 60 days to make sure that they're, kind of doing well. And then she'll also do like a training session with them to make sure that they're onboarded. She's also kind of like my executive assistant, I guess you would call it. So if I ever have to do an offer or anything like that, she does it. I probably couldn't tell you how to write an offer right now, to be honest. It's embarrassing, but I don't even, with all the changes and updates and everything else. So every time I need an offer done, I just call her, give her the information. She writes it up, sends it off for DocuSign. And then that's how we run that. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So the Trello boards, that's another great resource for folks. And we use Trello's for our kind of contract to close. How are you using that for this onboarding? Do you put, kind of a cadence of training and video links and things? How does that work?
So we use it in a couple of ways. So now that I'm, doing a lot of, I guess you want to call it recruiting or agent attraction, I'm having a lot of conversations. I needed something to keep track of who I was talking to and what I was saying to them, because writing it in my little black book wasn't cutting it anymore. So we actually we have a call booked, and then my office admin person, she'll put their picture in there, she'll put the company that they're with, their phone number, their email, and that goes into the first call list. And then once that first call is made and I'm having that conversation with them, then I book a Zoom meeting with them. Then it goes over to the Zoom meeting. Then it goes into first follow-up, second follow-up, third follow-up, or it goes into application, and then it goes into onboarding. And then once it goes into onboarding, she takes over from there. And then she has her system all set up as well, where that's where the follow-up for her begins, and the training and everything else. So we always know where these people are at. That way I know when to follow up and how, and set up a drip system and everything else. So it's pretty amazing. I was a little intimidated by it when I first saw it, because I'm not a techie person, but once she walked me through a scenario with it. I was like, wow, I love this. This is great. We also use it for our admin. So when somebody's onboarding, everybody has a specific task and then it gets assigned to them. And so it's kind of like all automated. And so the, marketing people know when to, launch that person and advertise them on social media and so on.
Great. Love it. Okay. Jenna, we've been keeping you waiting long enough. Why don't you share kind of how you leverage your time and how you've kind of, grown your production by actually upping your price point, actually lower units, more dollars, which equals more GCI and more free time and the support staff that you've got behind you as well.
Sure. So I have a transaction coordinator. She handles everything from accepted offer to closing, not negotiating inspections or anything like that, just mostly the paperwork. That is not my cup of tea. I'd rather be face-to-face with clients and looking for more business. So that's her job, and she works remotely. She was local, but yeah, so now that she can be remote, and obviously a lot of people are now. So a lot of my sales in the beginning came from like Google AdWords, Realtor, Zillow, that kind of thing. Now it's definitely more of a referral and past clients. So that's one way that my average sale price has increased, because a lot of those people are most likely in bigger homes. So upsizing definitely helps the price range. So 2020, I think I was at just under 230 average sale price, and now it's just over 300. So that's obviously a lot nicer. 2020 was 54 deals, and then last year was 47. So yeah, it's a good price, average sale price increase for sure. But I would definitely say, just with my past clients, having them upsizing definitely has increased that average sale price. Also leveraging my upline and downline, as far as, so one of my biggest goals is not, I don't want to say it's not sales, but it's not racking my body and brain to do billions of deals. I have different goals of traveling the world. So like this year, I have 6 countries, I believe, so far that are scheduled for vacations and trips. So utilizing my upline and downline for that support definitely gives me the leverage to walk away from the business and also still give my clients the attention that they need and want.
Gotcha. All right. This is kind of a perfect segue into, you mentioned you've got the TC, and Nicole and Dan are starting to introduce, virtual transaction coordinator, and Pierre's got his team. Raul, I know all your clients are still coming to you, and I know this has been a challenge in my business, is getting the clients to understand, hey guys, once we're under contract, this is actually for your benefit, for me to step away. It's not my gifting. It's not what I'm good at. So one of the things we've implemented is now our operations director, as soon as we're under a contract, the first thing a new agent does when they start with us is they record a video with her, introducing her, and myself included, so that as soon as they go under contract, they get an email with a video kind of saying, hey guys, for your benefit, here are all the things that Courtney's going to cover going forward. I'm still here for negotiations that need to happen around inspections. But how have you guys been able to communicate this where your clients aren't still clamoring for your time and attention? So Nicole, we'll go back to you on this one.
Sure, that's a really good question. When you hire a transaction coordinator, whether they're a virtual assistant or a local transaction coordinator, the important piece to remember is that everything that is done is in representation of you and your business. So how you introduce your transaction coordinator to your clients is really important, and you either want to be the one to make that introduction or have it part of the transaction coordination process, where you have pre-written scripts, emails, phone calls, text messages. For me, I use Asana, not Trello, but very, very similar. So everything I have is pre-written out, including that introduction email that says who my transaction coordinator is, what their role is, how they'll be involved, but that I'm a part of everything, and that their main source of communication is going to be with me throughout the deal, or throughout the transaction. So a lot of it has to do with your systems and the systems you have set up in place. And just know that when you hire a transaction coordinator, you should not hire a transaction coordinator if you've never been your own transaction coordinator. You shouldn't jump right in and ask someone to do all of the things that you don't know how to do yourself. So the first step is to always be your own transaction coordinator, or do it for somebody else for a little while so you know what to do and how to do it. And that way you can train your TC to do things the way that you would want them to be done for your business.
Well said. Especially about, you got to know what you're doing first to train someone effectively, and it's going to give your clients certainly more comfort as well. So Raul, we're going to kind of go to you, since you don't have kind of an admin support person now. Give us an idea of how much time, deal doctoring and contract to close is taking you currently, and how you hope to free that up.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I try to manage my time in terms of doing all my major paperwork early in the morning before I start making prospecting calls or going out for showings. And that way I feel I can get a lot more done. So my start time for paperwork usually is about 6, and by 7:30 I wrap up the paperwork. By 9 I'm ready to go hit the market. So that's my strategy to deal with the paperwork, but it can be extensive. Sometimes client delays or some errors by some other agents as well can take a while to get all that sorted. So I'm on my way to get a transaction coordinator full time for this year. Hopefully that will free some time off my plate and I can enjoy my mornings a bit more.
Gotcha. I can promise you this: everyone on the panel today will tell you it will be a game changer for you. Once we kind of committed to that, then I'm like, okay, now I can start adding agents to the team. Because until we have that tightened up, bringing agents on was just going to be a complete cluster. So Pierre, kind of how do you handle this with your team agents? How involved do they stay in the process once you pass it over?
So I guess, okay, so maybe rephrase that a bit. Your feedback is, I'm having a hard time hearing you because there's a lot of feedback. So I don't know if it's because your mic's up too loud, or I didn't understand. I didn't get most of that question. Mike, you still there? Did I lose everybody?
No, Pierre, I think he was asking, I think also when Raul's mic is on, that's when
I'm still here. Is this better? I took my headphones out.
Yes, sir. That's it.
All right, cool. So the question was, with your team agents, because a lot of time team agents come in without a lot of deal flow, without a lot of this knowledge around contract to close, how are you passing that baton off to your, TC admin staff, and how involved do your agents stay once they have a client under contract?
Michael, could you have Pierre close his mic when you're talking and vice versa? Because we can't understand. Thank you.
Okay, so I heard you that time, Mike. So, I mean, we have a process. So if we're talking about brand new agents, like just coming out of the gate, in Canada, we're very lucky. We have what we call a 90-day boot camp here. So every agent that comes on has to do, if they've done less than 4 deals, they have to do this 90-day boot camp. So that's the very first thing that we do with them. And they've got to go to that. Plus my onboarding specialist, what she does is she then, she spends time with them, making sure that they're getting through their emails okay. Because, we all know that we get bombarded with emails as soon as we join EXP. So she walks them through that and helps them. We also help them set up their KV Core. We have somebody in our group that does KV Core training for us every Tuesday morning, which is nice. And so we help them with that. And then we have some recordings as well. So we've actually created a website that has all our training stuff in there. It has everything so that we guide everybody to that. And then the big thing for us is to get them plugged in to everything that is going on in EXP University, any training events, anything, so that they get feeling like they're part of the culture right off the bat. So that's kind of our for the brand new agent. If it's somebody that's been in the business a long time, we still go through the process. I still recommend the 90-day boot camp. A lot of the other bigger agents don't usually do it, but they already kind of know how to write offers and do different things. But I stay involved too, especially with the newer agents. I stay involved as far as coaching. We do our meetings on Tuesdays, and we try to answer any issues and struggles or anything that's going on with them. But I'm available to them, so they reach out whenever they need help.
Gotcha. Okay, Jenna, how about you? Because I know with your travel schedule and everything else, it's critical. And you mentioned upline and downline support as well, I'm guessing, in your local market. But, kind of walk us through what's that communication look like to your agents, or I'm sorry, to your clients, to say, hey, guys, we're passing the file now to my transaction coordinator. Again, how do you communicate it? How involved do you stay? And how much time would you say it frees up for you not having to kind of be deal doctoring?
Sure. So from the beginning, it's just setting that expectation. So introducing my transaction coordinator early on, not directly, but just letting them know about her. And then obviously once we get to the accepted offer, here it is again. Remember that time that I told you about her? Here she is. And then she sends an email outlining all the deadlines, what to expect. But then there's also a voice clip with her and I both on it, and me directly talking to the clients, or whatever, not directly, but voice clip to the clients, letting them know, here's Angela. And then Angela literally starts speaking in the voice clip. So it's an actual handoff. I'd like to do video, but she's not local, so that would be a little harder. But so we do like a voice clip thing, and we have it to like music. I don't know. It's fun. So that part, and then any type of communication that's occurring with her, I'm also CC'd on the email. So if the clients have any questions more so about the contract or negotiation, then I just step in. As far as letting clients know, like when I'm on vacation, so I don't tell clients that I'm traveling. There's just no reason to freak them out, and they don't need to know, because I'm still available. Obviously, depends on where I'm traveling to. So if there's a showing that comes up, then of course I'll be like, Sarah is gonna meet you guys at the house. They don't need to know that I'm out of the country, and then I'll just let them know after the showing. I'll touch base with Sarah, and then if it goes well or whatever, then we can connect. And usually I'm available for writing an offer. Otherwise, I'll set that up with the agent to write the offer then.
Gotcha. Okay. So next question I've got, and I want to leave a little time for Q&A here at the end. Everybody runs their business differently, from a systems, from a lead gen, kind of what your pillars are in your business. So Rahul, let's start with you on this. You had talked about a great, CMA program that you're doing now that's starting to get you some listing inventory, which is gold in any market. So curious, kind of your top two most effective lead gen or lead pillars.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. My top pillars are referrals, and I do one-on-one coaching with Brian Buffini as well. So that's my main target lead referral program. I would say my second pillar, I'm trying to build it from KV Core through online marketing. I'm still setting it up. It's on this initial stages at the moment. I have got some luck with it, with some ads that I've run for my listings. So I'm really going to focus on it in this coming year. But my top one would still be referrals.
Okay. And tell us a little bit more about these ads that you're running on your listings. Are these getting you more listing leads, or are these buyer leads that are coming in asking about your listings?
They tend to be more buyer leads, very few listing leads from KV Core, from the ads I run. From KV Core, I just use the normal boost up ads for listings. I don't do anything fancy yet. But I've recently just finished up setting up my platform on KV Core. So I'm trying to see which parts work better. But for now, I think the buyer leads are slightly better than the seller leads on KV Core. And in terms of getting my listings, I work through referral for them as well. Every time I speak to somebody or my client, I do ask them specifically if they know anybody who is willing to sell. That way, I'm getting a bit more attraction. I was very shy to ask this question when I initially started training, but now I've gotten slightly better at it. And I have seen, until and unless you don't ask people, they don't let you know. So I've learned it the hard way, but now it's getting better. I do get, my success rate from referrals is out of every third referral I receive, I get a deal out of it. And I'm trying to make that better as well. But for now, that's my success rate with referrals.
Gotcha. Yeah, we miss 100% of the shots we don't take, right? So just asking that question, hey, who do you know that's thinking of buying or selling right now? And just kind of let some awkward silence happen, and sometimes somebody will kind of come into their mind. So Nicole, what is for you and Dan, what are your two biggest kind of lead pillars, and how do you keep those successful and flowing?
So there's so many aspects to this question that should be answered, but I'd say the number one source of leads is still going to be my sphere. And I've worked those over the years, and I do that by making sure that I'm investing into them. I'm depositing money into their jar, and not literal money, but coins of kindness, I would say, and care and attention. If no one uses send out cards, I would seriously look into send out cards. It's an amazing program. You can set up card campaigns and just click to send. Utilizing Facebook to love on them every single day, every, moments where they have big things that happen in their life. I invest time and energy into my sphere, my A's. And specifically the people that I know are sending me referrals, I gift them as well. If I have someone who's a huge Cleveland Browns fan, I'm going to send them a jersey. If they're sending me referrals, I'm going to send them something that means something to them. So I'm investing time and energy into my sphere, and I get referrals from there. But then we have other lead sources as well. So KV Core is such an amazing tool that is so underutilized by agents because, the biggest complex that agents have are something shiny, something new, squirrel, and they don't stick with it. And I think with the right campaigns set up on KV Core, and yes, you do need to make custom campaigns, and there's so many people and programs that can help you do that. But if you utilize KV Core the right way and you're consistent with it and you follow up with it, the leads that you get from KV Core can fulfill and do fulfill our business on top of our referral sources. So I would say that would be number two.
Okay. Those custom campaigns, do you have the monthly budget for that, an ad spend that you're doing to bring those leads in? And if so, about how much a month?
I guess I should say custom campaigns as in campaigns that we set up on KV Core, like the drip campaigns, not necessarily pay campaigns. So, the biggest, no one likes Zillow. We all don't like Zillow, but Zillow has some really great campaigns that they use to follow up with leads that they have come in. And we just copied the Zillow campaign and inserted it into our KV Core, their text campaign. So the follow-up that our clients get is the same text campaign that Zillow uses, and it works. And there's a lot of people on here. Sylvia Day, if none of you know Sylvia, she knows a lot about KV Core and offers some programs to help you set up your campaigns that go out to leads. So look up Sylvia Day. There's tons of people at EXP. They're in Workplace. There is a KV Core discussion group, and there's lots of people in there that are asking these same questions, and that also are people that are knowledgeable and leaders in the KV Core system, and you can ask them for help as well. But I think that having the right campaign set up and dropping the leads, whether it's a buyer lead, a cold hot buyer lead, a cold hot seller lead, and dropping them in the correct campaign and having your campaign set up on KV Core so there's some automation and less work on your side. But making sure that you're consistent in using the system and following up, which is the key with the leads that you get on KV Core, and not letting them just slip through your fingers. That's the key to getting good leads on KV Core.
Got it. Okay. Pierre, how about you, your team? What are your big lead gen? I know you've got, a bunch of different agents that are probably doing a bunch of different things individually. Do you have, marketing spend that's kind of allocated towards those agents? Give us a little idea on that.
Yeah, so for us, we promote video, and that's why I have my own video guy in-house that I invest a lot of money into, because that's the big thing right now on YouTube. And so the top agents on our team are the ones that are doing the most amount of videos, and it really shows. So for them, it's about being known and having that presence out in the market. And then, the videos kind of all link back to, giving back to the community, information, not just selling homes. They do personal stuff. They do, new listing stuff. And then they promote other companies as well. And then, we tie those videos and links back into the KV Core. So we have utilized the KV Core a lot. Now, for me as a team lead, if somebody is on my actual partnership group team, I supply leads. So, we have a significant ad spend. I mean, we're probably 10 to 15,000 a month. And that usually generates, probably 20 to 30 leads per agent. And then, we do some other stuff as well, but it's an investment, and I get paid back on it tenfold, because, when they have leads, they've got something to do. They can follow up. They can do a lot of different things with those leads. And then, the buyer leads, somebody said earlier that the buyer leads are stronger. Every buyer is a seller. And that's the way we treat it, because, people are always looking for a house, and that usually means they have a house to sell. So we treat every single lead as if they have something to sell. But of course, we have to start. I mean, we'd love to all have these listing leads and just go out and list a house and have a listing appointment. But those people are usually looking to see what's out there and, what they can buy for, and make it work for them.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see, Jenna, I don't think we've gotten to yours. I know you mentioned referrals, social, so if you can kind of give us a deep dive into, your best lead pillars, what's been effective for you.
Yeah, when I first started was definitely more of the online leads. Like you said, it's now referrals and past clients. So really hitting that hard with monthly send outs. So that's one pillar, but the second kind of goes hand in hand with social media. So anytime, every time there's a client, accept an offer, closing, whatever, I friend them on Facebook and Instagram so that I can stay connected with their, ins and outs of their day and family, and then any life events, right? So birthdays, anniversaries, job promotions, babies, whatever it is, I can see that and either send them something on social media or go, step above that and send a card or flowers or whatever it is. So just really connecting and making that relationship even stronger. So that those two pillars kind of just go hand in hand now. And then with social media, I've definitely been getting more referrals from agents that way too, which is fantastic. EXP is phenomenal in that sense with connecting with other agents and collaborating. So connecting on social media with other agents definitely gets that other referral part of that pillar.
Roger that. Okay, so quick question here on everyone, just to kind of give a little context to where we came into the business from. So curious what everyone did prior to real estate, because I don't think any of us, I think Pierre might be the deepest in terms of real estate background. So I'll kick this one off. So I owned a staffing firm in my area for 23 years. Went through a little health crisis in 2016, came out the other side of it, realizing this is just not God's calling on my life anymore. turned to my wife one night, said, "Do you trust me? Because I think I'm going to sell the business that has given us a pretty comfortable lifestyle and go into real estate." She probably should have talked me out of it, but she didn't. So my background was sales, entrepreneurial, managing small teams and everything like that. I'm just curious, kind of other folks' backgrounds, because most people, it's real estate isn't always that first thing. So Nicole, I know you've been doing real estate longer than Dan. So where did you guys come from, and what skills do you think translated to make you successful?
I don't think I've done several ICONversations. I don't think I've gotten that specific question before, but I think it's very important. So thank you for asking that. So I was in the Air Force for 8 years. And when I got out of the Air Force and came back home, I was stationed all over California, Arizona, Mississippi. So when I came back home, I used my GI Bill and finished up my 4-year college degree, and realized that I was so much bigger than what my degree could offer me as far as career opportunity. And my husband, who at the time was just my boyfriend, we were newly dating actually, and we were watching TV one night, and the Howard Hanna $1 Million Listing channel came on, which is local to our area, but it was great. And he looked at me and he's like, "Hey, you can do this. You can sell these homes." And I said, "Yeah, I can." So I used the rest of my GI Bill, and I graduated from local real estate school the same month that I graduated with my degree, and then just jumped right into real estate. And I'm not going to lie, the very first year I did 3 deals. One of them was like a $45,000 deal. But I was, each year that went by, I've doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and now we are where we are. And it was, it's been a fun journey, and I absolutely love and have passion for this industry. So.
That's awesome. Thank you for your service, A. And then B, so what was your role in the Air Force that you think, what do you think you maybe learned there that translated to your success here? Obviously, discipline was a big part of it, and taking that long view, but anything else you can kind of look back to think, yeah, this definitely prepared me?
Yeah. So we talked earlier in this mastermind about TCs and organization, and I would say that my superpower is that I need to be organized. I need to have organization in my life. And that's not to say that there are many aspects that are not. You should see my house right now with all my kids. But I would say that the organization, and what I learned in the military, is that everything is step by step. Step 1, place the bread in your hand. Step 2, pick up the knife. Step 3, put the knife in the peanut butter jar. Like, that's how specific the steps are in the military. And when I got started in real estate, it was a huge mind shock that there was nothing like that at all. I mean, there is no secret sauce in general for every real estate agent. So it was a huge slap in the face, and something that I had to figure out. And so I took those skills that I honed in and got really good at in the military, and over the last couple of years in real estate, I've been utilizing them in real estate, and I've kind of turned my passion around, not only in selling real estate, but helping new agents grow their businesses. So that's a secondary business that I do right now. And Dan kind of handles a lot of the sales side and the real estate side, whereas I just do a lot of the negotiations. So that's definitely a big thing that I learned from the military.
Excellent. All right, Rahul, what did you do prior to real estate, and what do you think lessons that you've learned in prior careers that may have helped you be successful to this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've never been asked before. But yeah, I had a very different field before. I used to work on the ships, on cargo ships specifically. I started as a deck officer. I was one of the youngest mates. When I initially joined, I got my captain's license as well. I did sail till 2014 was my last sail. Then I gradually shifted towards real estate. But I think discipline was one of the aspects that came with the Navy training for me. setting timelines, allocating different time sets for different jobs. So I guess that did help me with real estate. But my profession was a no people's profession. I mean, I wouldn't see any people in that profession. We were about 20, 25 people on a ship, and we would stay together for 6 to 8 months. So that part took a bit of training for me to get over and start talking to people, start being more socially active. Because when you're on the ships, you're by yourself for about 6 to 8 months at a stretch, and that can really isolate you with no social media, with no current news or anything of that sort. And once in real estate, you have to be entirely opposite. So I think the time and just this the people skills, I would say, was the most difficult part for me to transition, but the other things were helpful.
Gotcha. Okay. Jenna, prior to real estate, what did you do, and how do you think it's kind of served and helped you to this point?
Sure. So I taught 4K, 5K, so basically kindergarten. I always joke with, I mean, I tell my clients like this too. Buyers and sellers can act just like 5-year-olds. So that's how it's prepared me to help them deal with their tantrums and their emotions and all that. And just obviously just the educational piece, right? Explaining things in a clear manner, having empathy, and just the people skills, right? So I think that they all say teachers make great real estate agents. So that's that's true in my mind. So yeah, that's what I did beforehand. I dabbled in a few things before. So I grew up in Madison, and moved to Milwaukee, where I didn't have a sphere, or I knew one person. So getting into real estate, I dabbled in a few things before I moved to Milwaukee, did some property management, and was a director of a fitness club. So again, people skills, right? Communication. And then moving to Milwaukee, dialed into a CRM called Boomtown, and just, really leaned into that gamification to find leads, and then using my communication skills and teaching, new buyers and sellers the process, definitely went hand in hand then.
Gotcha. So lesson learned from Jenna, your people act like 4 and 5-year-olds, and we all know that's true. And it is very interesting and very true that education, I think we're educators more than we are salespeople, especially right now. We're taking a very educational approach to we call them purchase planning meetings now, where it's not, you tell me what you're looking for, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer. It's, here's what you're up against. Let me educate you first so that you know kind of the road ahead. So that people aren't as surprised when, they go see a home and it's like, who are all these people? Well, those are all the other people that want the home. So interesting background for sure, and definitely transferable skills. So Pierre, how about you prior to real estate? What did you do before, kind of getting into real estate and now building your team?
For me, it was sales, and more sales. So I started selling. I worked at a clothing store when I was 15, and then by the time I was like 20, 21, I was managing a clothing store, and then didn't like that. So then I went into selling doors and trim, and then I went into selling landscape products all over Ontario, and then I went into working for a company that I was selling, of all things, pipe and plastic septic tanks, which I hated. It was a 6-figure income, company car, benefits, all that kind of stuff. But I hated what I was doing. Right. So then, we were, buying and flipping houses and all that. And I thought, what, if I could make an extra 30 or 40 grand a year, sell 5 or 6 homes a year part time, that would be fun. And so I decided to get into real estate. And then, my first year, I basically went crazy because I had income. I was pouring money back into the business to promote and to show that I was, in real estate, and got to a point where I was making more money part-time than I was full-time. So I decided to make the move into real estate full-time, and then here we are.
Gotcha. So selling septic tanks was not fun. Interesting.
It was
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. Who would have thought? But you probably know more about septic tanks than most realtors. So
I do.
Tell them get that inspection. I know that's one thing is like, don't like if they're septic, get you a separate inspection for that. So no doubt.
I always know what to look for. That's for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, question for the audience: transferable skills. This just looks more like a comment. If there's any questions from the audience, if not, if the panelists, if you guys want to put your social media links in there, and I'll drop mine in because I'm sadly rebuilding my Instagram after being hacked. So people be careful out there with DMs that come in that look random that ask you to click on a link. But open for any questions.
I've actually gotten a lot of private messages. So if we have a couple minutes left, I can talk about a couple of the questions that I got in private messages.
Sure. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. A lot of people are asking me about the campaigns from Zillow. So I was a Zillow Premier agent for a while, meaning I gave them big bucks and I got some leads in return. And so and I don't do that anymore, but when you do something like that, you get a concierge through Zillow, and they're basically a coach, and you get to have a weekly call with your coach about what's working, what's not working, and some ways and systems to set it up. Dan is actually the one that has copies of the campaigns that we got from Zillow that are working. So I'm thinking that if we message him, maybe I can email everybody copies of what they sent us. I have no problem sharing what they sent us, but don't forget each area is different. So make sure you're customizing it to your area. And the other thing I thought about is there's a lot of questions about setting up these campaigns and setting up Zillow and not Zillow, but the campaigns from Zillow, setting up your KV Core campaigns. It's a huge question because the ones that KV Core has for you aren't the best. And so I would say I think there's classes here in the world that specifically talk about this. So be on the lookout from it. And I think we do have some people in here that work setting up the classes. So if you guys want to take note of that, because it sounds like it's something that a lot of people want to learn. Throw that out there.
Gotcha. Another good question. Best secondary income source when starting out. That to me is a double-ended question. My approach was burn the boats, where it's like I'm not giving myself a second income source. I'm either going to be successful or not. Pierre mentioned, kind of transitioning out of septic tank sales, realizing, hey, wait a minute, I think I can make more money doing this, but he kind of started with a full-time job. So just curious, Jenny, you came into a new market. You were kind of in the friend-making business. It sounds like you had some other jobs. So anybody else's kind of take on this?
I dabbled before I got into real estate. So when I decided real estate was it, I only was in real estate. So I didn't do anything else. So it was a sink or swim type. I better figure this out or I'm not making any money. So I agreed to dive in.
Got it. Okay. And then Nicole, it sounds like you kind of went straight in. You mentioned, using that GI Bill, got your license. So did you do anything kind of part-time when you started in real estate, or was it kind of all in for you as well?
For me, it was all in. I was really lucky because the GI Bill paid for all of my schooling and also paid some of my housing expenses. So when I started out, I had saved some of that and I was able to kind of get on my feet with the help of the GI Bill money and my now husband. I moved in with him and saved some of that cost until I got going. And the funny part is by year 3, I was making more money than him. So I was able to return that favor, and that's how he joined us in real estate. So I will say that. But as far as multiple ways to earn income in this business, there are there's more than rev share, there's more than stock, there's more than selling real estate. There are lots of different ways to earn money in side hustles in this business, and they're all somewhat real estate related. But the most important thing that you need to do is, if you're going to make real estate your primary career, just like Mike said, you need to burn the boats and you need to jump in head first and start selling real estate, and putting all of your energy and effort into that. Because once you get that going, that's when you start looking at, once you're making income, then you start looking at all the side hustles that are available.
Yeah, and one of the things I do is when I'm going on listing presentations, the first thought in my mind right now is, do I want to buy this house versus list this house? So I'm looking to build that real estate portfolio, and I think a lot of realtors get caught up in this transactional mindset versus realizing, wait a minute, there's opportunities that I may be privy to that others may not. So just having your eyes open to that. So we've bought 2 properties that way. One was a for sale by owner, and another was one where it had come on the market with an agent I knew. I said, wait a minute, what does it take to make this go away today? This was a little over a year ago. But keep those kind of things in the back of your mind as well. So looks like it's 12:31. I am quite certain there is something else coming on in the auditorium. So I would like to thank the panelists, Pierre, Raul, Jenna, Nicole. Great insight. I hope everyone had some great takeaways from this and something actionable. What I'm taking away is those coins of kindness, that loving on your sphere. I think it is the most important thing right now, is to love on your sphere, because there are multi-billion-dollar companies competing for their attention, and be that go-to resource for your sphere, for your past clients, for anyone. Be a connector and help those folks. So again, hope everyone had a great informative session. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.